5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I find myself in a little difficult position, having been called to speak after the long, instructive, and informative speech, or shall I say, discourse by the Prime Minister. In the other house, the Prime Minister himself had said that it was not possible to do justice to the plan in the course of one or two speeches. If that is so, in this case, with all his ability, with his vast experience, and with his intimate knowledge of planning and also of the document before us, it is simply impossible for us to deal with even some of the salient features of the plan within the short time that you may be pleased to allow. I have therefore decided to deal with only two important matters, namely implementation and resources. But having to speak after the Prime Minister, I have to refer to some of the points he has made. I may state at the very outset that I do recognize that a great deal of thought has been bestowed on the preparation of the draft plan, and a lot of time and trouble have been taken over its preparation, and I also admire the patience and optimism of its authors, and I can even understand its tone and note of optimism that runs throughout the document. Yet I cannot see my way to congratulate them for the document before us. For after 10 years of functioning of a full-fledged planning commission in the country, after the working experience of two plans, I expected a different kind of document, a more realistic and business-like stock taking of our efforts in the past. The picture, as the Prime Minister said, of the India to come is there, but I find that in important parts it is not clear. But I find that in important parts it is not clear. The lines are not at all distinct, and even some of the lines made clear in the previous plans have been blurred and they are not intelligible. For instance, certain needs which were described as basic needs of the people have been referred to in this draft as amenities. I give only one instance. Supply of drinking water for the villages was referred to as a basic need in the 10th plan, and in this plan it has been referred to as an amenity. I find that the draft is not as clear as was the 10th plan. The Planning Commission was appointed after the Constitution had been framed. The Constitution had given certain directive principles, and it was expected that the Planning Commission would come out with a plan for the implementation of those principles. I can give only one illustration. The Prime Minister talked about so many millions of children going to school, but how many millions are there who are not going to school? The directive principle lays down that by the end of 1960, all children up to 14 years should be in school, and now we find that even by the end of 11th plan, we will not be able to send all children under 14 to school. We will be able to send children only up to 11. I know that there have been difficulties, but then we should be bold enough and honest enough to say that it was an impossible directive that should be modified and it should not be there. About the other directive principles, I do not want to refer. I do not have the time either. I may point out that while I appreciate the remarkable achievements made, I also have to share the blame for what has not been done. In the 10th plan, you had fixed certain targets. Of course, the prices went up by 20%. Now you are going to make certain investments in the third plan. I have the authoritative opinion of an economist. So we must not be satisfied with that. I say I can understand the note of self satisfaction on their part because, but for that, they will not be there and they would have left the job long ago. So we have to devise ways and means. The Prime Minister knows that I have given some thought to the problems confronting us and I have sent suggestions to him from time to time and he has passed them on to the Planning Commission. Sir, at the time of preparation of the second plan, I had some suggestions and one of them was that I wanted to provide work to the unemployed in the villages. It is said that we do require better technique, but I know that in the villages where you have provided irrigation facilities, better seeds and fertilizers, and done everything to help the agriculturist, still the yield per acre has not gone up. There have been price competition, but that is a delusion. You put so much fertilizers in a place and you can show a bumper crop, but the average has gone down.